This is the Practical Tactical Podcast. Hey folks, welcome to another edition of the Practical Tactical Podcast. This is the podcast dedicated to the practical applications of tactical principles and teachings for the everyday common person. I'm your host, Casey, and we've got Justin with us today. Justin, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. Busy, but good. How are you, Casey?
Same. Always busy. It's good to talk to you in a brief interval as compared to how it's been lately. It's just a couple weeks this time as opposed to a couple of months.
We're going the right direction.
Yeah, right.
So what are we going to talk about on this episode?
Well, today we're going to talk about gun experts. What is a gun expert? What makes a gun expert, I guess, and some of their recommendations. And we're going to talk about an article specifically that we found in, what was it, Tactical Life magazine?
I believe so. I found it on Facebook and bounced around, but yeah.
And then we're going to talk about an article kind of in response to that, written by Greg Ellifritz of Active Response Training, I think it is.
Yep.
That's right.
Well, before we get into that, anything new on your end? Any new guns, any new toys?
Nothing new, no. I don't do the whole new thing very much anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll say one thing I have improved. I'm working on some personal improvement. That would be my physical improvement. And also, I've got out now.
Improvement on your face?
Well, there's only so many things we can do.
There's only 24 hours in the day.
Yeah, but working on my... eating a little bit better because, you know, as much as I like to fight it, you can't outwork a bad diet. And as I'm pushing into my 30s, it's catching up with me. So I'm taking more effort on that and seeing some good gains. Had to adjust the duty belt today before I go back to work and tighten it up a little bit. But also, my skills. I've started going back into competition. My schedule's kind of I work most Saturdays, so it's hard to get to a lot of matches, but there's a few locally or within driving distance that go during the week and the evening, so I've got one each last week and this week too. So both IDPA matches, and finally went ahead and paid up and got my membership current again. So I'm going to try to stick with that, either IDPA or IPSC, and try to do it at least a couple times a month. And I wasn't as bad as I thought I was going to be, but I wouldn't say I was in the middle of the pack with most stuff, but that was my biggest issue. You know, one of those things you go back and 0, 0, 5, crap, 0, 8, 0, 0. So when I was on and I was good, but sometimes I just, and you know, one thing I've noticed is support hand strength. I cut my index finger pretty good, right in the very first joint knuckle here, and I've lost some strength. And I've noticed the gun's creeping on me a little bit. So, you know, it used to be not a big issue, just grab the gun and manhandle it. But now that I'm having a little bit of, I'm having a few issues with it. I'm having to pay a little more attention to my support hand grip so I can get a good trigger break. So I think it'll be good. I'm learning some more stuff, and I've shot my duty rig and my off-duty concealed carry stuff to kind of challenge me. But so far, so good. I recommend anybody get into it. Go find a match. Go find something local, and test your skills. It's a good time.
Well, you know me. I'm a big fan of competition. It doesn't matter whether it's IDPA or IPSC or USPSA or even the Steel Challenge stuff. That's always a good time too, with the 22 pistols and rifles and stuff you're shooting at the steel. Mm-hmm. I think all that stuff's very good. I have not, unfortunately, shot a competition in a long time. We're talking like probably 2 years, maybe.
Wow.
Maybe not that long, but it's been a minute since I've shot a competition, and I kind of miss it. But you get busy, so definitely, it's something I need to focus some more time on. Unfortunately, as I did say earlier, there is only 24 hours in the day and 7 days in the week, and so you have to kind of pick and choose your battles. But definitely, if you're able, get out there. It's fun, if nothing else. If nothing else, it's fun, and you get out there and meet some people that are generally like-minded, and it's a good time. So definitely, kudos to you, Justin, for getting back on that train.
And hey, one thing I do want to point out, I've never done any big national matches or anything like that. But I have done small local matches. Like this one is one gun bay with 2 to 3 stages. You normally go from one to the other, top off as you go, and then you're done. And then I used to shoot it out in North Carolina, near the base, which is the biggest match I've ever shot, and there's a lot of people that go to those. And albeit both of them can be intimidating and scary for people to go out there, especially new shooters. Hey, we were the same way. I know I was. I'm sure Casey was nervous. In fact, the first time I shot, I was probably almost as nervous as the real thing overseas in a gunfight, because you have all these people watching you and you want to do good and not screw up. But every single time I went, I've had a good experience. I've only had one person out of hundreds of people I've shot with that was really even remotely rude or not friendly. So don't let that scare you off. Most of those people, 99.9 of those people that you're going to meet there, will give you the gun off their belt. Hey, go ahead, try my gun, shoot this. Go try this. As long as you show up and don't do anything unsafe or anything dangerous as far as your muzzle discipline or anything like that, as long as you don't do anything unsafe, they will be patient and accommodating with you. I promise you. I've yet to find somebody that wasn't accommodating to new shooters like that.
I 100% agree. I started shooting competition when I lived in Florida for a while, and where I shot was a pretty good-sized club. In fact, Shannon Smith, who's a world-ranked grandmaster and shoots all the world competition stuff, and he was a regular shooter at that club, and there was a bunch of other people who came in pretty regularly, big names that I didn't know at the time. And to a man, I've never had a bad experience at a match. Never. So definitely get out there. No one's going to judge you. Everybody was new at one point. Definitely, I would say, get out there and have a look-see.
All right. Well, here's the article in question. This came up in my Facebook feed or something. I don't remember what it was. And this isn't a picture of him, by the way, by Greg here. And I read through his article, and I really agree with a lot of what he has to say. But for our viewers and for the benefit of them, we're actually going to focus on the article he was responding to in Tactical Life, which the first thing we got to see here, this is a gun magazine. This is a publication to grab eyeballs and sell guns, advertisement. So you have to take that in consideration. You can see it on the background of the page. Springfield Xd mod with blah, 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 blah. It's a massive magazine is what it is. So it's kind of like car magazines and every other magazine. When they review something, nothing ever sucks. Nothing is ever bad. It might be less optimal or you prefer, but they never seem to actually have a bad opinion about anything. But
we have bad opinions here.
And bad attitudes sometimes. But the title is 18 Experts Pick Their Concealed Carry Weapon of Choice. Now, I'm not bashing any of these people. That's not our goal. We're not here to say that, Rob Latham is an idiot and he doesn't know what he's talking about because he wants to carry X gun. No, that's not what we're saying. That's his choice, his deal. That's between him and whatever. But we do have an opinion on their choices, on the guns that they've picked. And I think a lot of it has to do with advertising. You'll see the people that are Ruger's team shot captain for the competition is carrying all Rugers. The person for Taurus, she has Taurus as her picks. The Smith & Wesson person has the Smith & Wesson. So they pretty much follow their party line. And I mean, that's their job. I get it. No big deal. And most of them can shoot any gun well. But what we're talking about is what we would recommend to Joe Bob off the street that's got 1 minute of experience behind a gun and wants to know, what should I get? And I feel that this advertisement does a little bit of a disservice to some of these people and doesn't necessarily mislead them, but I don't think it gives people the ideal choice of choices that are out there. That's about. Can you put that any better, Casey? Any more?
No. I think you're right. Basically, it comes down to these people have used these things for a whole lot of time. These people are not, by any means, novice or even average. And so the choices that they've made are born from years and a lot of time shooting that particular platform, probably for free. They probably didn't pay for the gun. They probably didn't pay for the ammo. They're probably getting paid on the clock while they're doing the shooting. So I see things like the SIG 239 as a recommendation, or a H&K P7M8, and I'm just like, I get it, but by the same token, that's not what I would recommend to the average person. Because some of those guns, they're great guns. They're not bad guns. It's not that they're bad. They're just a bit more of an aficionado's gun, just like I wouldn't recommend a 1911 to the standard guy. A 1911 is an aficionado's gun. Great guns when properly cared for, properly built. But when we're talking about those things, you're generally not at a price point that is what I would call, quote-unquote, affordable for the average person. Not when you can get something like a Glock or an M&P in 9 or 40 or even 45 if you just can't live without the 45 for $600 max out the door.
Right.
A good 1911 is going to cost you a couple grand. It just is what it is. And even then, it may run like crap. So I think that you have to kind of look at the lens of that and say, okay, well, these guys carry this. This is why they carry it. It's not that it's bad. It just may not be the best recommendation or solution for the average everyday person. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's good. Like the first one here, we got Jared Ogden. Obviously, he's a former Navy SEAL. He's got a lot of time on the SIG handgun. So it makes sense for him to choose that as a carry weapon. He probably already has equipment and gets rigs for it, support equipment. Hey, I get it. For me, I think it's a little heavy, but you also shoot it better. And it depends on his body type as well. But he's comfortable with that. I wouldn't really knock that at all. But once, like you said, the price for that weapon and the weight for what you get, I think you could go with a lighter gun that has the same capabilities and a cheaper gun that has the same capabilities. But not a bad choice by any means. But for instance here, Jesse Duff, who of course is the shooting team captain for Taurus, put down a Taurus PT 738 380 and a Taurus Curve 380. And I don't know much about the PT whatever. I haven't handled or shot one of those. I have handled, I've not been able to shoot a Curve, and I would not recommend the Curve to anybody. I'm sorry. It has no sights. It's kind of a solution in search of a problem. I don't think it's not curved enough that it disappears in your pocket. I mean, the magazine still has to be straight. It's a strange little gun. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. I mean, it's neat. I like to see manufacturers push limits and try new things, but literally the back of the slide is painted with a white X, and you're supposed to like superimpose the gun over your target. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that I can get there from here on that either. I'm not saying it's a bad gun. I've never held one, never shot one, couldn't say for sure, but nobody that I know is using them. You know what I mean? So...
And Jeffy Duff is an amazing shot, but I think that's on party lines too. But
well, and then she's carrying it. What's the other one? The PT what?
738.
380?
738.
PT 738 and 380. I mean, come on. You'll notice that a lot of these people aren't carrying full-size guns either, which is very interesting to me.
Oh, yeah, I've handled one of those. Once again, it's kind of in the Ruger class. Very, very non-existent sights, even less than the Ruger, or maybe even less than a a Kel-Tec, but I don't think so. Sorry. Here's another one. Michael Pfeiffer, of course, he's associated with Ruger. He carries a Ruger.
Not just associated, bro. He's the CEO.
Oh, he is. Oh, I didn't even read that CEO. Well, yeah. He can't exactly come out. Yeah, I carry a shield.
Although, you know what? I would give him a lot of props if he did.
LCP, hey, that's fine. Like I said, that's not a lot of gun to be rolling around with. But for a little gun, it is good at what it does.
Didn't you just break one of those?
Kind of. I set out to break one, but anyways, I still don't carry it that often. It's a pocket gun. I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit later, but
real quick, I noticed here's another thing. He rolls in a Fobus paddle holster. Listen, folks.
Yikes.
Fobus is literally Fobus and Uncle Mike's are like the sign of a serious neophyte or amateur. It's not good gear. It's cheap, but it's cheap. There's a host of issues with those guns, or with that equipment, those holsters. The Uncle Mike's, it's got like clip-on belt clip stuff that's just begging to get pulled off.
Is that the one that's basically an old gym sock with a plastic clip sewed to it?
Yeah, that's the one.
It's awful.
It's got clip issues. It's got just a host of issues. The Phobus, again, just because it's from Israel doesn't mean it's awesome. You know, they're cheap and they're available. They're cheap and available, but they're just not that high quality, folks. So something to keep in mind, it's the whole system. You want to think about the whole system, from the gun to the support equipment to everything. It all matters. And we'll go over our general concealed carry stuff here before we're done. And I mean, I've carried my rig all over the place. I wear it every day, and we'll discuss that directly here. So
that Phobus paddle holster will stick out more than the guns we're going to recommend too. But
correct.
All right, here we got a law enforcement instructor officer, John Schaefer, M&P 9 compact, and a wheel gun. How do you feel about wheel guns, revolvers there, Casey? I'm
a fan of them. You know, I like the Smith J-frame. I've not fooled with the M&P 340 that he talks about, but I think it's basically a J-frame gun. I've not fooled with it any, but I like a J-frame. It's a good little backup piece, or, in my opinion, if you're carrying a pocket gun, it is my opinion that the best pocket gun I've ever owned is a Smith & Wesson J-frame. Because it fits nicely, it doesn't look odd, it's not blocky, I can get a hold of it easy. I like them. They're good little ankle guns, but I think that there are better options. I'm not one to say that I'm not an always and never kind of guy, but I do think that it's kind of, again, another niche gun and kind of an aficionado's gun. Most people, it's got 6 rounds, 5-6 rounds. Most people suck at shooting. So it is what it is. They're hard to aim. Not hard. I mean, let's make sure we're tracking here. It's not, oh my God, rocket science. We're not creating fission to aim the gun, but you do have to be paying attention. It does matter. It's just different. And if you're used to an auto gun, it can be a difficult transition in the heat of the moment.
And they don't typically have the kind of nubby sights like these little pocket guns we're talking about. They don't have big blocky 3-dot kind of sights. They typically have a ramped front sight and a notched rear, something that's doesn't kind of stick up and grab your eye on a lot of these small frame guns that I've seen. Now there's ones that have big sights, but as a general rule. But
correct.
I just think there's better options out there. Not to mention, most of them that I've seen from a quality manufacturer are typically more expensive or the same as some of the recommendations we would make that carry more rounds, or I don't get it. I really don't. But to each their own. It's just not my thing. I'm like, here, Bill Rogers, which I was surprised by this. He says Ruger LCR in 9mm. And that's not a small revolver either. That's pretty good size. I mean, it's probably broader than a shield. and dimensionally about the same.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that he calls for that also. I'd have figured he'd be carrying a little more modern gun, but he's kind of an old school guy. I mean, he's not young, and so at the same time, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And he could smoke a fool with it.
yeah, you definitely. All these guns will get the job done, if that's what we're talking about. It's just how easily and efficiently.
Yeah, we got another Ruger. This is LC9. I guess that's the single stack semi-auto.
Couple in the article Rohrbaugh 9s, which are, as I know it to be, that's an older type of gun.
Yeah, they're really small, all metal, but I think they're kind of expensive. You don't see a lot of them around either.
Yeah, they're old school, like the what's the old school? What's the 10 millimeter 1911? That was really big. Delta. I don't know. It's past me, but I think it's an old niche gun. It's a barbecue type gun. Maybe that might not be the right word, but it's a high end piece.
Oh, this is this one gets me. Chris Karachi? I don't know him. I guess former Navy SEAL. He's a tactical police officer as opposed to standard police officer. I kid. Gun Crafter Industries 50. That's a custom-made 1911 that shoots 50 caliber rounds.
Because 45 wasn't enough.
I'm sorry. I'm sure he's a good dude, former, served our country and all that, but seriously, a 1911 and 50 caliber? I think I looked it up on their website. I went to the Gun Crafters Industry. There's no prices that I could see in my quick observation, so I can tell you right now,
you know what that means.
It's more than my
truck. You
gotta
ask. You can't afford it, dog.
Exactly. And I know it drops the magazine capacity from like 7 or 8 down to 7 or 6, depending on if you get the flush fit or not. I'm like, less rounds, big heavy gun. I was like, I don't get it.
But it's a 50, bro.
And I'm sure the dude can run it, but I don't get it. That's kind of like his other choice, the P7 M8. I mean, those are neat.
Now that's the coolest little gun out there.
Good luck finding
one. I like
one.
the P7 M8. That's the squeeze cock gun.
Right.
It's pretty badass. It's a really cool gun. But again, it's old. It's different. It's cool. It's cool as shit. I want one bad, but it's heavy. What are you rolling with? Like 8, 9 rounds of 9 mil? It doesn't make any sense to me. And they're not cheap. I mean, you can get a cheap one, a P7 that's like a police trade-in from Germany. It's still like $500. Why? It's a cool gun. Don't get me wrong. Really cool gun. But it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
And who's going to know how to work on it if it breaks?
I would roll that like to, a wedding or something. Something where you're going to have, you want some bling, I guess. It's tactical bling. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Tactical
like the barbecue
bling?
gun. Like in Texas, they got the barbecue gun, the 1911. It's got all the shit, the engraving, and it's gold and silver and got the rosewood handles. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I guess I get it. I don't... Let's move on. Oh, here we go. Ted Nugent. Glock 20s and 9 or Glocks and 10 millimeter. 10 millimeter or nothing.
He got the Glock part right. I'm good with that. I'm not even saying 10 millimeters bad. All I'm saying is, why use 10 when 9 will do?
Yeah, 10's pretty cool. I wouldn't mind having a long slide one for a kind of carry through the woods gun, but I sure wouldn't want to carry one concealed. I don't. I've shot a few. They're pretty snappy. But,
well, 10 millimeter. That's what the feds went, or the FBI went to post Maddox and Platt. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how 40 came to be. Was 10 millimeters a hot round. Mm-hmm. And that's how 40 came to be, because they were having issues with people shooting and qualifying and keeping guns running and things like that. So Smith & Wesson developed the 40 cal as the cross, in essence, the speed of the 9 and the bullet size of the 10.
And will fit in the 9mm frame.
Right. And so, I don't know. It's 10 millimeters there. 10 millimeters not a bad round by any means. It's just, an aficionado's thing. Yeah. Where are you going to get ammo? I mean, you're not going to Walmart and getting Winchester White Box in 10 millimeter.
Yeah. But once again, this is Ted Nugent. He probably has a truck full of it.
Yeah, he wipes his ass with $100 bills. He's not worried about where he's getting ammo.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking the guy. It's a badass. Just not something I would do. But I like this one. There's a former NYPD and Nassau County police officer, 25 years. He's retired and a firearms instructor and currently doing security work. Glock 26. Like I said, that's a good choice. I like the
25-year guy on the job got the best recommendation of all.
Yeah. He's like, it works. He can put extra magazines. He can push it into full-size duty if he really has to, or conceal it. It'll do. I mean, before the Shield, it was my go-to. And I still have it around because, honestly, I travel to Texas to see my family. I can take the 26, some spare magazines, and I'm good. If I have to fight it out, I can carry hundreds of rounds with me and feed that little tiny gun, or I can have 11 rounds in the holster and nothing else. I can scale it up and down at will by just changing the magazine. So I think it's an excellent choice. But, well, before we go on to ours, we did want to mention we have recommendations from someone that we all can agree is a gun expert. We'll play a short clip here of some of the different options he has in concealed carry, and what he'll end with, we'll all agree with, which is his go-to and what he prefers to carry on a day-to-day basis. And we'll transition into Casey's and I's recommendations.
Hey folks, I'm Kyle Lamb with Viking Tactics, and I'm here to talk a little bit about concealed carry. One of the big things about carrying a gun is if you're going to carry a gun, carry a gun. I hear folks say that, well, I'm only going to carry in these certain situations. My goal every day is to carry a gun every minute that I'm outside of my home. And when I'm in my home, I have concealed guns there as well. And that means that I'm prepared. So as you can see, I'm dressed kind of casual here. I've got some 511 pants, got a 511 flannel shirt on. And I really shouldn't stick out too much. But what I'm carrying here is my appendix rig. And I'm carrying a Smith & Wesson M&P subcompact. All right, and I carry that inside of an appendix holster. The reason I like the appendix holster is it allows me to slide that holster around to my side or wherever I want to put it so that I can keep it in a comfortable position. If I want to be able to quickly take my gun off and on to put it in a backpack, or where I come home I might want to take my pistol off, I can quickly pull the clip out and take the gun off, and that works really well for me. The other thing too is if you notice, this looks pretty normal. If I was to bend over, you would see that I actually also have a pistol in my back pocket. Now that is Smith & Wesson M&P as well. This is a 357 Magnum Scandium receiver pistol, and I'm carrying that in this customized, made by my buddy Bob McKibben holster. And what that allows you to do is have just enough to take away a huge print to tell me that's a gun. Now you can see that I've got something in my pocket, but you're not going to know what that is, but it keeps that pistol oriented so I can grab it if I need to get to it quickly. The other thing I like about this, I can put it in a pocket of a jacket. It also helps to keep from printing there. The other way that I like to carry, if I'm going out with my wife on the town, I got to wear a cowboy shirt or something tucked into my blue jeans, and I'm not comfortable trying to hide a gun there, I may actually wear my leg rig, okay? So my ankle rig, I'm carrying a Smith & Wesson M&P Shield, and the only change that I make sometimes when I carry in my pants like that is instead of carrying an extended mag, I may carry the flush fit magazine. So that's Smith & Wesson M&P Shield in an ankle holster. All right, and there are other times that you want to be more concealed. You may want to just wear a t-shirt. And let's say I'm wearing shorts. Normally I don't wear shorts very much, but if I was going to wear shorts, the problem you run into then is I can't wear an ankle rig. If I've got a t-shirt on, sometimes the appendix rig will still work, but you may have to have something that really works. And for that, I'm actually carrying another pistol here, and this is a Ruger LCP. The Ruger LCP is in 380. Okay, that doesn't have as much bite as a 9mm or 40 or 45, but at least I still have a gun on my person. So if you're heading out there, folks, what I highly recommend is, you know, if you're gonna say that you're carrying concealed, that you like to go armed, then do it every day. Come up with creative ways to carry these pistols. If you're a female, you've got even more options because you can carry a purse. You can get away with different type clothing. Men, we're kind of have to rely on our girth to hide our weapons where we can. My favorite carries are absolutely my appendix carry, which I normally carry the MP shield here or on my side when I get in a vehicle, or the ankle rig. All right, folks, if you're gonna carry a gun, carry a gun.
All right. And of course, a 511 media production. Holy crap. 511 is making some cool stuff. They are branching out with females and more bags. I mean, it's some cool looking stuff.
Yeah, it's all right. I like ATS Elite,
Oh, okay.
formerly Woolrich Elite.
So, the one thing you ended with was the shield. All right.
We're like shield pushers. We're like your shield crack dealer.
I can't.
It's just such a good gun.
It is.
I just don't. I don't see the need to have 3,500 different. Go with the shield if that's your thing, or the Glock 43. We like that gun too.
Definitely. Well, while we're at it, we'll move on to our concealed carry. Here we've got Casey, you want to talk about what you carry, why? And don't forget the accessories, you know, who made the holster and mag pouches.
Yeah, I roll pretty light, I guess, for lack of a better term. I carry a wallet. It's got like a badge and my IDs and debit card and business cards. You're just a wallet. It's just a standard wallet. I carry a pair of handcuffs in case things get a little kinky or we got to take somebody to jail. But the most important part, I carry a Glock 22 with an X300 light with a DG switch. It is carried in a Raven Concealment Systems Phantom. Specifically, I use the quick mounting strap, I believe it's called, the QMS. And the magazines are carried in a double magazine carrier from Raven Concealed Systems, again with the quick mounting system snap dealios, which are really cool. Now, I roll a full-size gun because, A, I don't care if you know I'm carrying. If it prints, okay, whatever. I don't care. And why not? I'm usually not doing anything that's so bad that I have to roll tiny. It just isn't, it's not an issue for me. So I'm all about rolling a full-size piece. It's not any more inconvenient to put on a full-size gun in a holster than it is to put a tiny gun on a holster. And like I said, the concealment benefits, for the most part, is not an issue for me. Now, I've rolled that rig pictured. Full-size gun, 2 magazines, handcuffs, badge. I've rolled that in jeans, an under t-shirt, and just a standard button-down short-sleeve shirt over the top on an airplane several times. No one's ever been the wiser. So, and people look for that sort of thing, walking through the airport, and not that they look for it, but it's more of an issue. And it's never been a problem. Full-size gun with a light, never had a problem. So the whole, we want to carry a smaller gun because of XYZ doesn't really get there for me.
Well, moving on to me, I emptied my pockets out here, and you'll love my nice Photoshop work here, because I'm sure there's some guy in Tasmania that's going to look at my keys and make copies of them or something. I don't know. Safer than sorry, but
He's gonna steal your 1987 Toyota pick-em-up truck.
it's not 87. It's newer than that. Anyways,
What is it?
it's a 94.
Shut up.
It's been a good pickup. All right. I used to carry the 26. I've now moved to the Shield gradually. I carry the Shield inside the waistband with a center of mass clip holster. I don't like most clip holsters, but center of mass, well, former center of mass, they're kind of in some turmoil now because the owner and founder, unexpectedly passed. So I have not been able to get any more holsters out of them, unfortunately. It is a very, very heavy-duty clip. And it also has a tab that grabs onto your belt. You can barely see it. So it's not just a clip. It's a clip, and it has a bent-back hook piece of metal that this thing is not coming out unless you want it to. I mean, it is very, very, very stout. Like I said, rock the Shield with the standard flush fit magazine. And then in my left pocket, I have all the accessories. Excuse me. I have a 10-speed double magazine pouch mounted to a Raven concealment. Oh, I forgot what it's called. Well, it's a plate. It's basically a plastic plate. I'll have to look it up now so I can tell you what it was. And then in that, I carry the extended magazine, a small thing of pepper spray, and a 4.7's flashlight. It's a titanium light. That all fits neatly down in the pocket. Doesn't print real bad because of the Raven concealment. And then in that same pocket, I carry that Spyderco knife that sits down in there nice and clean. And
You're talking about the modulator there?
Yeah, that's what it's
That's
called.
what that's called, modulator.
Yeah.
So you roll an extra mag, a flashlight, an OC.
Yeah, I just recently added the pepper spray in there because I always had some in my vehicle. But I also thought, as much as I don't want to have to shoot somebody, I really don't. And a lot of the things that I'm seeing people interact with, dealing with people that are just, well, jackasses, I could see an incident where having an intermediate force option could be advantageous. It would be the first thing that I would drop if I had to, because it's the lowest priority. But it's just a little bit bigger than a AA battery. I can slide it right down there between the light. It kind of keeps the light and the magazine separate, and it just doesn't get in the way.
It seems like a lot of crap in your pockets.
It does, but once you put the pocket shield, I actually found the website now. The pocket shield, modulator pocket shield. Once you put that on there, that helps a lot. And I also buy clothes that will accommodate that. I don't wear that in tight-fitting jeans or tight-fitting anything.
In your skinny jeans?
No, no skinny jeans for this guy. They don't make skinny jeans in my size.
Mine either. Geronimo's extra large.
But it really works. And like I said, adding the pepper spray, it doesn't weigh nothing. And it just fits right in there. You can see, here's some other configurations on Raven Concealment's website. It's I don't remember it being that pricey when I ordered it.
That's for 3 of them, numbers.
Oh, 3
They're like 20. They're like $24 each or something,
like,
which is pretty
gracious.
legit.
Yeah, that's not so bad. Here it has someone mounting a holster to it. But it really does help stabilize everything in the pocket, keep it oriented. And my last IDPA match, I shot using it. I had to top off on the stage because I don't have that many magazines for the Shield. But I was able to shoot, reach in the pocket, grab the magazine, pull it out. The only thing that came out with the magazine, I didn't empty my pockets, reloaded it, went right on through the stage, no issue at all. Other than that, got a badge and some keys, wallet, and I try to carry some cash. Once again, that's just overthinking things. But I try to keep some cash somewhere that if something does happen, if I can throw some cash at somebody and they'll leave me alone, I'll gladly give them $20, $80, $100 not to have to shoot them. So I mean, it's
See, and I'm not giving my money up, dude. Sorry.
yeah, I can see both ways. I don't fault anybody, but in the big picture, me personally, I'd rather give them some cash and make them go away. And it also, I think it helps too. If they won't take the money and go, that's also giving me a indication that they're going to need some more action. And yeah, but other thing, I mean, and I don't have a choice with other things. They see the badge, the wallet, and credentials, stuff like that. I can't give that up. That's not going to happen. But I do have a little intermediate thing there. But
I've actually my wallet has a badge in it, and because of that, I'm pretty much forced to always carry a gun because I refuse to have a badge on me and not a gun. I've kind of been considering going away from carrying my badge around in the wallet. I don't know, and kind of going to like what you have there, the little what is that? Like a little half wallet thing, money clip deal.
Yeah, it just clips on the belt, so you can just clip it on your belt right in front of the gun or behind the gun or wherever.
No, your wallet.
Oh, the wallet.
Slicky.
What about the wallet?
Jesus Christ! Have I said what have I just been talking about?
Oh,
I
thought you were
said
talking
in
about
the
the badge.
wallet I carry my badge.
Yeah, I know.
And
I think you're talking about the
noticed
clip.
you have a wallet that doesn't have that. It's like half the size of mine, if that, and it looks like it's got cards and stuff. I've kind of been considering going to that.
Yeah, I can't stand carrying. You have that big old trifold. It's probably 2 inches
No,
thick.
mine's a bifold, but it's got the middle dilly whip there, and it's got the badge and stuff in the back. But like I was saying, the problem is because I got the badge in all the time. I got to carry a gun basically.
Yeah,
because you don't want to have I don't like having a badge on me without a gun.
definitely. No, I just do the clip-on thing. Plus, I like the fact that I can, if I need to, I can move it. I've heard other people, they wear them around their neck and all this wazoo crap. I'm like, no, that's uncomfortable. If I need to, I can.
The neck thing's not bad, and it actually Kansas City, Missouri, or Kansas City, one of them, did a big study recently, or within the last 10 years anyway, of blue on blue fratricide issues in off-duty or plainclothes assignment encounters where there's a shooting that's involved and you're out, you get your gun waving around. They say that the neck ID badge is better than having it by your gun. I have to carry the badge by the gun by policy for my agency, but we also a lot of times I'll roll a neck badge because it's better for visibility. It's a fratricide issue.
Oh, definitely. That's why part of my routine is practicing unclipping it and clipping it to my shirt. Either if I'm wearing a polo at the bottom, something. If I'm keeping that gun out, it's not going anywhere, or the situation I have enough time. That's my plan that I've practiced. Probably not enough, but that's in my plan to remove that badge quickly. It comes off pretty easily. Wants a little bit of practice and clipping that center line somewhere so it's visible. That's the big reason I carry it, because like you said, blue on blue is no joke, and that's a big deal.
Yeah, I attended a brief sidetrack here. I attended an alert P-curve class, plainclothes response to violent encounters.
I just took that one too.
By alert, huh?
I just took that one too.
Yeah, they're big. They're big on that. Anyway, they're big on the identification part is a big deal, and of course, I've always considered that, but I liked their little shoot, scan, identify thing that they talked about. Again, nothing exactly high speed or new, just something we don't practice a lot. It was a good little class. I took that, I guess, a couple months ago, just before the last time we talked, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there that law enforcement officers tend to take for granted and don't think about, or they gloss over it and don't spend a lot of time on it. That there's a lot of value in taking the time to think about how you're going to do that. Okay, great, you shot the guy. Now what are you going to do? Where are you going to put the gun? All kinds of stuff like that really make you think. But,
yeah, definitely. If you have the opportunity to take that class, I definitely would recommend it. It's the only concealed carry class I've ever taken as a cop that was like aimed towards cops. My agency put it on. I've been to a lot of other stuff on my own time and dime, but that's the only plainclothes class I've been to for that sort of thing. And most of the people that were in the class, it's the only stuff they'd ever been to because they don't go to stuff on their own and stuff like that. So definitely, if you get the opportunity, go check it out. I'm not anti-alert. I just don't love it. But that class in particular, I very much enjoyed.
Definitely. I definitely agree. And last but not least, the LCP. I didn't take a picture.
Couldn't save yourself, could you?
Didn't take a picture of that because back in the day, I used to walk the dog in town. Sometimes I would put the LCP in the one pocket and the phone in the other in the shorts and walk the dog around a little bit. And it had its place, but it does not get carried often. But that's kind of my minimalist thing. Let's see here. So, we're going to move on to our recommendations and kind of wrap this thing up. First off, let's talk about 3 different things. Like, we talked about competition, so what kind of competition gun should people get?
I don't care. Get nuts, to be honest with you. Shoot what you want, shoot what you like, shoot what you're good at shooting. Shoot with what you can win with. Because at the end of the day, I don't care what anybody says. Competition is a competition, and we want to win. So if you want to shoot a production gun, shoot a good production gun. If you want to shoot open, get the baddest ass open gun you can get. If you want to shoot limited, get a wicked wazoo cool high-end $4,500 STI 2011 built by any one of the great custom builders out there. Go nuts. I don't have a thing. If you're going to shoot production, I would recommend just shoot your carry gun if that's what you're going to shoot, because it's practice with your own gun. And it is not training. Competition is not training. It is simply practice, and it is a building of different skills that you may not get to do on a square flat range just in your everyday, in your normal practice. So that's my thing. I don't care. Get nuts and have fun. The biggest thing is have fun. Competition is not going to get you killed, so you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. My only caveat to that is start with a carry gun. Don't go out there and spend all your money on a $3,000 or $2,000 on a CZ, Accu, Shadow, whatever, that you can't carry or won't carry. That shouldn't be the priority. I mean, get the shield, get to this, get to that, and then, it's like cars. If you want to have a race car, that's fine, but you're not going to drive a race car to work. So once you got your 94 Toyota pickup to get you to and from work, if you want to buy a race car, fine. It just doesn't need to be the number one priority. That's my only little caveat on that. But
I can get on board with that.
Yeah. All right, duty weapons. When I say duty, I mean, I kind of put that in there, but I kind of see this as full-size guns for maybe either someone to carry off-body or have at the house, but basically a full-size weapon. What do you think about that?
Yeah, for duty, I'm a firm believer in the full-size gun. For duty carry, you get a lot of agencies that will issue, say, just for instance, a full-size Glock 22 to their patrol guys, and they'll issue a Glock 23, a compact gun, or a Glock 27 subcompact gun to their detectives and their administrative staff. In my opinion, duty carry is a full-size gun job. It's a full-size gun. You got more ammo. It's a full-size gun. Good metal sights, night sights, good support equipment. That's how I see it. My preference, as I said before, is a Glock. I don't think you can go wrong with a Glock or MP. And honestly, even you can't go wrong really with any gun that's in heavy use in a lot of different places. Sig Sauer. We issue the Sig Sauer. It's a P229R. We're transitioning away from that and going to the Glock. Nothing wrong with the Sig. It's not my preference, but if I have to get in a gunfight with it tomorrow, I'll be okay. Beretta 92. Again, don't love it. It'll be fine. Anything that's got in heavy use is fine. The Springfield Xd, again, not my favorite. It's not really in use of any major departments that I know of. So you may set that aside. Things like that. Those are my recommendations for duty guns.
And I think it's a semantics thing. I'm not saying XDs are awful or that CZs are bad. I'm just saying these guns are that much better. It's not that.
I don't even know that they're better per se. There's some issues that guns, specific guns have. The XD with the grip safety issue and things like this.
Right.
But the statistical sampling of guns that are in service, when you're looking at hundreds of thousands versus hundreds, you have a much better knowledge base and support base with, say, a Glock versus an XD or a CZ. Both of those, which are fine guns. Personally, I don't have a need to own either one of those, but they're not bad per se. I don't love them and I don't recommend them. But a Glock and an MP, hell, you can get holsters for that bad boy on any street corner. You know what I mean?
Yep. Good, bad, and everything in between. Yep. Good luck finding a holster for a CZ something with a light mounted on or something. Okay. Yeah. So, I'm the same way. Stick to the mainstream guns, proven guns, Glock, MP, SIGs. There's other ones out there. They're okay. Most of them are. Anything from a quality manufacturer will probably do better than you and hold up to everything you're ever going to put it through. But if you want to play it safe, go with something that's has millions of people out there using it for all the reasons he mentioned. But moving into a little narrower niche, which I personally would be my first recommendation if you're going to buy a gun, which is a concealed carry gun or a carry gun or whatever you want to call it. Does this change any of our considerations or any of our recommendations when you go into a little bit narrower focus?
For me?
Sure.
No. I'm a big fan of... I just really... For the average person, for the everyday person, again, outside of living in hostily denied territory such as California or something like that, or having a serious need for extremely deep concealment, just carry a full-size gun. I just don't see the benefit, personally. Smaller guns are generally harder to shoot well, or they can be. There's just... the juice isn't worth the squeeze for the average guy. Now, if you're working undercover, doing something like that, where you got to have, if you have a gun at all, it's going to be something tiny that's in your crotch. Okay, Roger, I got it. I'm talking average, everyday, normal person. The difference is negligible, in my opinion. You want the Glock 23? Fine, go get the Glock 23. It doesn't matter, but I don't think. For me, if I'm going to fight, I want to fight with a fighting gun. And a shield is generally not a fighting gun. So if I'm forced to fight with the gun, why not have a gun that's designed to fight with? A shield is great for back up, get off me. It's good for that. If you actually have to do something, maybe not. I'd rather have it than nothing. And if the situation dictates, I will. But for the most part, I'm a big fan of the full-size gun. Inside the waistband, outside the way, I don't care. You carry it how you want to. Appendix, whatever. That's just my opinion. I would get either a full-size gun or the next size down. I would not go any smaller than that for everyday concealed carry. Outside of some very specific circumstances.
And now we come to the point of the show where we disagree.
Dun, dun, dun.
And I don't really disagree. I just know that most people, if it's hard to carry or uncomfortable to carry, it gives them one more excuse not to carry. I went through the whole progression from a Glock 19 down all the way to a 32 pocket gun, all the way back up to I've had all kinds of things, everything in between, including 2 XDs and a 1911 and some other stuff. And what I found was, one, I started before I was the police. I had a concealed carry when I was still a civilian and neurotic about getting caught. So I started from that perspective of always.
Let me ask you real quick before you get on your rant, because I'm going to counter rant in a moment. But did you ever get caught, quote unquote, caught when you were just CCWing as normal Justin?
I never have.
Yeah. Okay. Carry on.
Never ever. And
So it's a wholly overstated problem.
Yes. It's kind of like the carrying the pepper spray. Do I need to? No. I'm a little more, and there's people that would say you're carrying too much. Of course, you're a law enforcement officer, but there's people that are civilians that carry as much as you do or more. And I don't.
Dude, most people carry more than I do. They look at me like, "Oh my God, that's all you got's a gun." Yeah. I mean, come on now,
But for me, I found the niche in the subcompact area that it's very comfortable. I have no reason not to carry it. It's easier to dress around. To not really print, you're going to have to dress around those bigger guns. It becomes more of an issue. And most importantly, I shoot those guns on a regular basis. My plan now is to alternate between my duty rig and the shield or whatever I happen to be carrying concealed when I do competitions to get practice with both. So it's almost a moot point. Because the guy that argues you have to carry a 50 cal 1911 and that's the only gun you could carry is going to be beat all day, every day with that guy that has the LCP 380, but he practices with it every week and is a good shot. And of course, those are at opposite extremes. And it's kind of like what Kyle Lamb mentioned towards the end of the video. I can carry my shield on my ankle, inside my waistband, outside on my hip, appendix. I can put it basically anywhere in my body. One gun, it'll do all those functions, and it's easy to carry. I like that because I can recommend to someone, the average person, hey, you don't have to spend all this money. Just spend $300-$400, another $100 on holsters, and you got a gun that you can now carry when you go to church, put it on your ankle. When you're going throughout your daily business, untuck shirt, put it on your hip. If you're going to drive a long road trip, slide it over to the front in your appendix. And it's one gun that is in a good caliber that will do all those functions, and it's not expensive. It's like sub $400. That I think is much more reasonable than some of the other recommendations that typically almost all of them, including those 5-shot revolvers, cost more than the Shield, cost more than as much or more than the Glock 43. So that's kind of where I'm at with concealed carry. Pick something you will carry, you can carry that'll fit in all those applications. So you don't have to get the little 380 because you're lazy. So you just move up to that subcompact and practice with it. Learn how to shoot the gun, and I think you'll be very effective than the other people that are arguing about bigger guns that, one, are not carrying them or have tiny pocket pistols that they're carrying but never shooting. So there you go.
Yeah, like I said, I can get on board with that. As long as you're carrying a gun and you're prepared to defend yourself, you practice, you get some training, I'm all for it. But at the end of the day, a lot of the issues that are touted as why we need to carry smaller guns just really don't come to fruition. Again, every situation's different. Even when I wasn't the police, I didn't give a shit if people saw that I was carrying. Just didn't care. So to me, it's never been an issue. But I've never had to deal with things like crazy California or working somewhere where it's all very anti. But in those situations, you probably need to be looking at some other solutions as well, such as like off-body carry in your man bag or messenger bag or whatever, and all that sort of thing. So you have to really look at the totality of your situation, the totality of the solutions that you're trying to create, and just be smart and intelligent about the decisions you make. That's just kind of my opinion.
And don't be dogmatic. Search out different things, try new things, and basically be a philosopher, if you will. Study what you're doing and make sure you're not just doing it because it's a 45. It's a 45. No, do it for the right reason that fits your mission, and I think you'll be just fine.
Yeah, and don't do anything because we said so. Certainly do your own research and come to your own conclusions, but be able to answer the difficult questions. that's at the end of the day the most important part is if you understanding the methodology of why you're doing what you're doing. It doesn't matter from what gun you're carrying to why you use this tactic to whatever. Understanding the methodology is the most important thing, pretty much in all things. So anyway, I guess we'll stop whipping the dead horse.
Well, I think that about wraps it up for this episode. We will have another episode where we're going to go into some more details about maybe some other recommendations on some tactics and training. And I know we got some stuff in the news we're going to talk about later in our next episode next week. So that episode should shortly follow this one and won't be as much of a gap. But of course, like, share, subscribe. Look us up on our website. Look us up on the Facebooks. If you have questions, comments, suggestions of stuff you want us to cover, keep them coming. We've had some interesting discussions on Facebook on some different topics. We do enjoy them. And that's about all I got. That's it.
All right. Well, folks, until next time, don't forget to share, like, and, you guys know what I mean. Until next time, be safe, train hard, keep your head on a swivel, and shoot straight. Take care.